Hey, this is Joel from BlankTV. We are very excited and honored to be with System Divide with Sven and Miri. As you know, we were very fortunate enough to release the Apex Doctrine video with the world. We did the premiere, and it was great. It was a great success. And you're on your first North American tour, correct?
Yep,
That's right.
pretty much.
So we're very happy to have you. Nice to meet you, Sven.
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you, and
Okay.
thank you for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure, our pleasure. So, you just left Canada, and this is your first time, well, maybe not your first time playing the States, but your first U.S. tour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
So
It's
how-
actually also our first time playing the US.
You were in L.A. once before, right?
Yes, we were, but for promotional things. Like we shot the video in New York, and we had a photo shoot for Miri in LA with
Revolver.
Revolver for the hottest chicks in
We remember
Hard
that,
Rock.
yeah, we remember that.
But actually, this tour was actually our very first US shows.
Oh, okay. So this is the very first time you're playing in Portland. then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you end up on Metal Blade Records? Good friends. We love Kelly. She's fantastic.
I love
She's very
Kelly.
nice.
Yeah. How did you end up on Metal Blade?
Well, my previous band, my other band,
Aborted.
Aborted, yeah, was managed at the time by Sean Carano of the Artery Foundation. He has a couple of bands on Metal Blade, like Whitechapel. He got them signed there and all that. And he, when we started System Divide, I sent him the EP, and he was really into it, and he really liked it, and he wanted to manage the band. And he was like, well. We were already talking to a couple of other labels as well, but he was like, I really believe in Metal Blade. I work with them very closely. So let me see if I can get you guys into Metal Blade. And that's pretty much how it went. And everybody at the label seems to be really motivated to work with us, vice versa, of course. And it went pretty smoothly from there on. So.
Yeah, they're very nice people. It's easy to work with. They're replying fast. They're very open-minded to work with you, and they offer a lot. So it's been very good so far.
Sven, you were in Aborted.
Mhm.
You were in
A band called Distorted.
Distorted.
we call it Disborted.
Pretty much.
Did the two of you, did you know Sven when you were still in the band?
Yeah, I mean, we know each other for like 6 years.
A bit more,
a
I
bit
think,
more,
yeah.
7 years, and we started dating 2006.
Mhm.
So we know
Yeah,
each other.
Yeah, both our bands actually had a show together on our wedding day.
Death metal growls combined with clean female vocals.
Mhm.
Obviously, the two of you believe in intermarriage. That was my joke.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, nice.
Did you expect this? Was it an experiment? Was it, let's combine these two and make a band?
It was pretty much an experiment. I mean, I'm the one that like knew all the other guys of the band for like a couple of years, and we always were talking like maybe we should do something together. But it was always talking, it never happened. And Miri and I wanted to do something together because we were kind of sick of being separated whenever I was on tour and all that. So we were like, well, let's do a band together. Also, I did some guest vocals on
Yeah.
her last album with Distorted.
It's like we already knew that we work well together, and we said, okay, we're sick of being apart. It's really hard, and maybe we should do something that we can actually tour together. So we said, okay, let's gather some people. Sven knew all guys from the band. He knew Mike Heller for a really long time. He knew Cole Martinez. Is not in the band anymore, but. And we actually started writing some tunes. We didn't know how it's gonna sound like until the day we finished laying all the tracks for the EP.
Yeah.
And when we got the tracks, we were like, okay, this is pretty interesting. Maybe.
It's less
Yeah.
homosexual than we thought.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, maybe we should do something, send it to a couple of people, see how the reaction goes. And,
So it pretty much went from there. I mean, we had no idea what to expect or what we were gonna do, but like everybody, when we actually heard the finished product, we're like, well, we didn't expect it to sound like this, or so maybe we should go with it and see what happens.
Why the conscious sedation?
Because that's what every day is like for everybody around. at least to me. You see, people live in their own little bubble of life, and whatever happens outside, it doesn't exist. They
Yes.
choose not to, care about anything or anyone else.
You see it every day in the street, in the TV, in everywhere surrounding us. It's like people just what doesn't affect them. It's not theirs. It's like if it doesn't affect their life, then they don't care. If they see some homeless people, some injured people, or whatever they see on TV, it's like, okay, it doesn't affect us, so why should we care?
Looks like people care more about the Kardashians than they care about
Yeah.
real life,
Yeah, true. So we wanted to do this album to maybe, I don't know if to educate people, but to put this in front of their faces and like, hey, this is what we've become, and maybe we should care. Maybe we should do something.
You've lived in Israel for how long?
3
It's been
years.
3 years now, yeah.
3 years. So that's home.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
You get a lot of comments, with your video, the Apex Doctrine.
Yeah.
I've lost track of the amount of views, but you've got a real hardcore following on there. And not more than occasionally, there's death metal or the metal scene in Israel. People are really liking it. Now, from my experience, I've been there twice. My first time there in the early '80s, as I say, from my experience, the impression I got was that in Israel, the music scene, they were maybe about 5 years behind what was happening. That's just from my experience. So you can disagree with me or tell me to shut up if you like. And then I went, and again in the 90s, and I was like, in the 90s, people there were listening to Bauhaus and Alien Sex Fiend. But now, when you talk about death metal, it appears that Israel has its thumb on the pulse of death metal.
It's kind of true. I mean, the scene really grew up really big time in the last 10 years. We have more bands, we have a lot of listeners, we have bands coming over from abroad to have shows, and it seems like the scene really grow by the day, if you say like 15 years ago, then I'll say you're correct, and maybe we were a bit behind, but we still had a smaller scene that knew what was going on, but just a bit smaller. But nowadays it's like really big. A lot of new kids. Every show I go, it's like I don't recognize the crowd anymore because there are lots of new kids, and I think the status is really good now. I mean, we didn't have a year that we have Megadeth, Meshuggah, and like other tons of bands coming on the same year before. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's new to us.
More and more like international bands have been showing up and playing shows in the country, which was not the case before.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think I agree with what you said, but the main reason why it's changed to me is the internet. Because it's really easy to be, in touch with everything that's going on. The reason why Europe was not behind with that stuff is because bands come on tour in Europe all the time. So you keep up with what's going on, even if there was no internet or no nothing. There were the magazines, the bands coming on tour all the time. When I lived in Belgium, there were like about at least 4 big shows a week. In Israel, it's not the case. So obviously, if they don't have the bands coming over, there wasn't the internet until whenever it came out. Nowadays, the kids, all they do is sit in front of a computer. So whatever's popular in the US will be popular, for example, in Israel as well.
Yeah, I agree about that. It's only also the kids are like going to festivals abroad, going to see shows in Europe or in the States, and it's like people are opening their minds for other things, besides the small scene. So I think it's cool that it's developed like that.
That's great.
I'm happy that it is.
Speaking of festivals, when this tour is over, I think you've got a lot of things lined up, but you're going to a particular festival in Belgium, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Tell us about this festival.
It's a festival mainly dedicated to female-fronted bands. I played there in 2007 with my previous band. It's a great festival. It's not really big. It's like till 5,000 people.
something like that.
I think more nowadays. and all the female-fronted bands from all over the globe, and it's really cool. I think.
All different genres?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
As
have,
long as it's female fronted, I
yeah,
guess.
you have like goth bands, you have extreme metal bands, you have all kinds.
Yeah, last year they had the Agonists and Epica and all this kind of
Arch
stuff. So
Enemy, yeah.
Arch Enemies, it's very diverse. As long as there's women, it's cool.
Yeah, it used to be 1 day and now it's 3 days, so I think it got
Yeah,
bigger.
it's growing up,
Yeah.
yeah.
Getting bigger.
Yeah.
Did you get some resistance or negative comments when the System Divide project started from some of the old school aborted fans?
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
What's he bringing his wife on board?
Yeah.
Yeah, leave her in the kitchen.
Yeah, I
Stuff
get,
like that, yeah,
I get
you
a
know.
lot of, a lot of creative comments, especially on the Apex Doctrine video. Yeah, sometimes I look at the comments. It's pretty funny.
On our channel?
Yeah.
Look at this guy's turning his head over there. We try and keep up.
No, that's okay. I don't mind.
That's
I
fine,
mean,
you know,
We get
uh,
over 1 million views a day now.
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, it's cool that people at least are commenting. People care enough to comment. I mean, if it was a video, if it was music that it was somewhere like, okay, you don't like it, you don't hate it, it's like somewhere in between, no one comment about it, no one cares. At least it's either love, either hate. I mean,
Yeah.
I like it that it's like extreme. You know if you like it or you love it. And I like seeing the comments because I
Yeah.
appreciate what people think about it. I
You know,
don't.
opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and I mean, exactly what you said. I'd much rather be in a band that's either hated or loved than something that's mediocre and everyone's like, oh yeah, well,
Whatever.
whatever, you know,
That was
passes
getting
by
something all
unnoticed.
the
Yeah.
time, every few hours for sure.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, let's talk about the Apex Doctor. Kevin Custer.
Oh
He's
yeah.
the guy. He directed it. What was the? Was that impromptu? What was the planning behind the Apex Doctor, and why that particular track?
There was no planning at all, actually.
We just wanted to have some kind of a live footage to present to the world because we couldn't gather to have rehearsals, we couldn't do shows. So we thought that having a video would be the best idea to actually present ourselves before we have tours and we have shows. And we chose Kevin Costner because we really love his work, and he
Yeah,
did
he's a friend, so
he's a
we-
friend, and he really did a good job with the budget we had, and I think he really presented the band in a way we wanted to, like very energetic, and I think he did a good job with what we had.
Yeah, he liked the material, which is why he gave us such a good deal because
We were very excited about that one.
What did you learn?